Hey, what's up, good people? It's your boy again, whyterose, coming at you with another reading. Um, it's been a while, but I figure, with Resident Evil 6 coming out, I'm a big Resident Evil fan, that I would. Well, I just beat Resident Evil 5, and I noticed that here we have a file called The History of Resident Evil, and I thought that was pretty important to read since Resident Evil 6 is coming out. Well, it came out, and Resident Evil the movie came out, that Retribution one. That was a joke, but we ain't even gonna talk about the movie. We're gonna just talk about the games, alright? But anyways, I wanted to read to y'all the history of Resident Evil, that file there. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. Okay, before I begin though, let me just let you know that's kind of in like a journal format, so that's why it's gonna seem like a bunch of like abruptions. So, but I'll just read it as is and follow along if you want. So yeah. Alright, here we go. History of Resident Evil. 1960s. Engineer Michael Warren begins the electrification of Raccoon City. The fifth head of the Ashford family, Edward Ashford, begins his research into what would later become known as the progenitor virus. 1962. Oswell E. Spencer enlists architect George Trevor to design and construct a reclusive mansion on the outskirts of Raccoon City. 1966, December. Oswell E. Spencer, James Marcus, and Edward Ashford officially established the progenitor virus, which reconstitutes a living organism's DNA. 1967, November. The construction of the mansion and lab facilities in Arklay Mountains is completed. Jessica and Lisa Trevor are injected with the variant of the progenitor virus. The virus fails to establish itself in Jessica, and she is subsequently disposed of. The virus shows promise in Lisa, and as a result, she is placed under close observation. George Trevor is chosen to be a test subject. However, due to his intimate knowledge of the mansion facility, he is disposed of instead. 1968. Construction of Raccoon City's public transit Charlie begins in Europe, and they are quickly put into use within the city. Spencer funds the pharmaceutical company Umbrella with Marcus and Edward Ashford. The company established to mask their biological research. Okay. Edward Ashford contracts the progenitor virus and dies. His son, Alexander Ashford, succeeds him as head of the Ashford family. August. The Umbrella training facility is established in the Arklay Mountains, with Marcus appointed as director. 1969, February. Alexander Ashford begins to design a facility in Antarctica. He secretly makes plans to build an underground laboratory for the purpose of the Code Veronica project. November. Umbrella's Antarctic base and research facilities are complete. 1971. The Code Veronica project is successful. The twins Alfred and Alexia Ashford are born. 1977. Albert Wesker and William Birkin join the training facility as prospective managers. 1978, January. Marcus successfully develops the T-virus. July. The closure of the training facility is finalized. Wesker and Birkin transfer their T-virus research to the Arklay Research Facility. Marcus continues his own research in the closed-down training facility. Fast forward to 1981, July. Although only 10 years old, Alexia Ashford graduates at the top of her class from a prestigious university. Birkin begins to view Alexia as a rival. Sorry about that. 1982. Alexia injects her father, Alexander, with the T. Veronica virus, but the experiment ends in failure. 1983. December. Wesker researches secondary exposure to the T virus. He begins to have reservations about Spencer's plans. Alexia injects herself with the T. Veronica virus and enters a 15-year cryogenic sleep. To maintain the secrecy of this plan, It is reported that she died of accidental exposure to the T-virus. 1987, Michael Warren becomes mayor of Raccoon City. 1988, Wesker, under orders from Spencer, assassinates Marcus. Under Birkin's guidance, the T-virus program begins development of the BOW Tyrant. Umbrella begins work on the Nemesis project at its 6th European research facility. 1991, Umbrella begins the construction of expansive underground laboratory beneath Raccoon City. Spencer approves Birkin's G-Virus project and work begins on it. Wesker transferred to the Information Department. 1962, Umbrella contributes funds for the refurbishment of City Hall and the building of the General Hospital. A statue of Michael Warren is erected in City Hall. 1993, Raccoon City Police Chief Brian Irons begins conducting negotiations with Umbrella. Birkin transferred to the underground lab in Raccoon City. Clandestine meetings with Irons begin. Alfred Ashford graduates from a university in England and becomes director of the Antarctic facility. He rises up the ranks to eventually become executive of Umbrella and then director of Rockford Island. December, a training facility for anti-BOW squad members is completed. 1994, John from Chicago Lab takes over for Birkin at the Arclay Research Facility. Alfred builds a private mansion and prison on Rockford Island. 1996, Raccoon City Police Department STARS team is founded with Wesker as captain. Hunk, later of Umbrella Special Forces, undergoes combat training at Rockford Island. 1998, May. A mysterious clone of Marcus appears at the Umbrella training facility. There is a large-scale viral outbreak at the Arclay mansion. The research lab there is destroyed. Cerberus claims its first victim, a 20-year-old woman whose body is found dismembered. June. Cerberus sightings are reported in local Raccoon City magazine. July. 2 groups are sent to investigate the training facility. The first one is wiped out by BOWs located on the premises. There is an increase in reports of accidents and missing persons in the Arclay Mountains. The city sends STARS Bravo team to investigate. Alright, side note there, that's pretty much the beginning of Resident Evil 1, if you didn't catch on to that. Bravo team's helicopter experiences engine trouble for unknown reason and is forced to put down in the Arclay Mountains. Bravo team takes the Ecliptic Express to investigate the training facility, which is later destroyed. Alpha team is sent out to search for Bravo team when communication is lost. The occurrence of the mansion incident. Bravo team leader Enrico Marini learns Wesker's true identity. Wesker murders Enrico. Ravaged by the virus, the mansion and the lab are destroyed. 4 members of Alpha Team and 1 member of Bravo Team escape the catastrophe. Survivors: Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton, Brad Vickers, Rebecca Chambers. Wesker escapes the Arclay Mountains facility before it's destroyed. August. Former STARS member Chris Redfield learns of the G-Virus and heads to Europe to investigate Umbrella. September. The virus spreads throughout Raccoon City via infected mice. The city is declared biohazard as incidents of cannibalism continue to rise. Birkin completes work on the G-Virus. A zombie horde attacks the city's police station. The police station is destroyed and Chief Irons descends into mania. Warren escapes the city but leaves his daughter behind. UBCS, Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service, arrives in the city to begin rescue operations. Rookie police officer Leon S. Kennedy arrives in the city at the same time as Claire Redfield. Umbrella deploys the BOW Nemesis T-Type into the city and it begins its hunt for former STARS member Jill Valentine. Umbrella deploys mass-produced tyrants into the city. Okay, side note, pretty much they just talked about Resident Evil 2 and 3 there, so yeah, that's where that is. Continuing on. Leon and Claire escape the city with William and Annette Burgham's daughter, Sherry. With the arrival of the U.S. military, the city is placed under martial law. UBCS survivors are exploited by Umbrella's official observer of the situation, Nikolai Gianivov. Forgive me on that one. And they die off one by one. The hospitals are destroyed. Ada Wong and Hunk each acquire samples of the G-Virus. The underground lab in Raccoon City is destroyed. October. The U.S. government decides to eliminate the virus threat by destroying Raccoon City with missile strikes. December. Claire infiltrates the Paris laboratory, only to be captured and imprisoned on Rockfort Island. Wesker attacks the island with his own private force and releases the T-Virus onto the island. Claire escapes from the prison and sends an email to Leon asking for help. Her location is made to be known to Chris. Jill escapes Raccoon City and goes to Chris's apartment, but he has already left the Rockfort Island. Alfred Ashford escapes the island. Chris arrives at Rockfort Island and finds Wesker. Alexia Ashford wakes up from her cryogenic sleep in the Antarctic base. At the Antarctic base. Alfred dies shortly after. Claire and Chris are reunited at the Antarctic base, and together they defeat Alexia. They escape before the base is destroyed. 2002. Jack Krauser fakes his own death and joins Wesker's secret organization. February 2003. Chris and Jill take part in the mansion to destroy the Umbrella Caucasus research facility in Russia. They were successful in destroying a new BOW known as Talos. The U.S. President's daughter, Ashley Graham, is kidnapped by the religious group known as Los Illuminados. The actual kidnapping was carried out by Krauser. Leon Kennedy was scheduled to avoid Ashley's Secret Service detail, but is ordered to find her instead. Alright, so side note again, Resident Evil 4, that's what this is here. Continuing on. Leon Kennedy is injected with the Las Plagas parasite by the Los Illuminados. After that, he and Ashley, who is also infected with the same parasite, take shelter in a church. After escaping the village, Leon and Ashley are forced out to seek out refuge in an old castle, but Ashley is once again apprehended. This time she is taken to an isolated island by Krauser under the orders of Raymond Salazar, the 8th head of the Salazar family. Leon confronts Salazar and defeats him. Leon heads to the island to find Ashley, and it is there that he defeats both Jack Krauser and Osmond Sadler, the leader of the Los Illuminados cults. Leon and Ashley use the facility on the island to remove the parasites. Ada Wong steals the Las Plagas parasite from Leon. Leon and Ashley escape from the island by jet ski. So that's pretty much it. I mean, sorry if I was a little mundane. I don't know. I try. But that's Resident Evil 1 through 4. I also saw Code Veronica up in there, and I might have missed some other ones, but that's pretty much how things went down all the way up until Resident Evil 4. And maybe in another video I could summarize what happened in Resident Evil 5. So yeah. Alright fellas, till next time.